So we're just about to leave the Caldas and Quindio region. We've been here for a couple of days. We've been to farms. We've been to Eje Cafetero, which is a research farm. We've been to Naranjo, which is another research farm of Eje Café. We've been to the Eje Café headquarters. My head is about to explode because there's so many things that we have learned throughout these days. But first of all, the region is extremely beautiful. It looks more like a cultivated garden. And it's all coffee and some bananas and some other produce as well, but mainly coffee. Most of the farms are technified. That means they are highly dense with coffee trees. They produce a lot of coffee. They have very little shade, if any shade. It's just a couple of banana trees, and it's very efficient production. Very different from Sierra Nevada and Nabusimaki, where we were last week. At Eje Café I learned a lot of stuff, and I don't know what to say and where to begin, but we basically saw how the plant is cross-pollinated in order to develop the Castillo variety. We tasted a lot of good Castillo coffees actually. We also saw the huge gene bank which they have, which is not it's not a laboratory where they store seeds, it's actually trees in a garden. So we were able to see huge Liberica trees, Stenophylla, over 800 different Arabicas, so that was quite impressive. I also visited the Eje Café research lab where I got a lecture in biodiversity. Apparently Colombia is one of the hotspots of biodiversity, so there's a lot of species that are being preserved because of coffee. Not just on the coffee plantations, but also by keeping the forests around and also shade in the farms. We're able to preserve the wildlife in the farms, which is great. We also saw how they try to conquer leaf rust and broca, which is big problems for the plants. And a lot of farmers just use pesticides because it's an easy solution, but it's not a very sustainable solution. And it's toxic, of course, and it doesn't really remove the problem. So what they're researching is how to find natural ways of getting rid of the leaf rust, which is a fungus that attacks the coffee tree, and also the broca, which is the small beetle that eats on the coffee cherries. And it was very interesting to see that they found another fungus that they can spray. It's organic, and it's not actually naturally appearing in the coffee farms. They can use this to defeat leaf rust. They can also, the broca, not the leaf rust. The leaf rust they conquer by planting Castillo, which is leaf rust resistant, so they don't have to use any spray. But the broca is the biggest problem now, and they're trying to find new ways of handling it without killing all the other wildlife. So that was extremely interesting. We also saw a very big insect collection. There are a lot of good insects that the coffee tree needs, and there are a lot of predators that are eaten by these good insects. So it's important to keep the balance, and therefore important not to spray pesticides all the time. The last thing we saw was the denomination of origin, which was extremely interesting, how they've been researching the similarities of coffees within the different regions. And I think so far they have 5 very clear denominations, and it's based on the actual content of the beans, so the chemical composition, but also the flavor profile and also how the coffee is grown and the climate. So hopefully you will see this in other countries. Colombia is the first one to do it outside of Europe, actually. So it will be interesting to when I come home to taste the different regions, because I'm collecting samples all this trip. Today we're heading to Pasto in Nariño, which is a region in the south. It's supposed to be the tallest growing coffee, so very high altitude. It's around the volcano. That's going to be interesting.